Well, I don't have any cigarettes.
Oh yeah, that's too bad. That's too bad. Well, hello to everybody that's with us live here. You know, it's round two of the Rick Jewers gatherings that he's initiated. Obviously, the goal is to start initiating these ourselves. So, you know, wherever you are, even if there's one person, two people, three people, you know, numbers do grow very, very quickly. So make sure that you're doing your part and reaching out to your brethren and, you know, to your sisterhood that's around you, and make sure that you're staying positive and you know, trying to bring forth the whole collective together. So now, you know, we're going to go through, we're going to have a little bit of a discussion. Rick is going to, you know, explain what really is behind the meetings and why they're important, and we're going to stem over to some more conversations from there. So Rick, in your opinion, you know, the gatherings and their place amongst this whole ascension and, you know, amongst everything that we're doing here now, what do you think is maybe a list of guidelines to follow through these gatherings, or what are they meant to achieve? Or, you know, do you have a piece that you'd like to say about the gatherings in general?
Yeah, I do, Conrad. So with these gatherings, they're just beginning. It does not matter how many you have there, even if you have a gathering and you are the only one there in physical, it's still important. So don't base anything on numbers with it, but it is significant, you know, if you have it, and there will be a few. Now, tonight we have here we have 8, and it's very interesting in so many ways. I mean, we were speaking prior to the show here, and we touched on infinity and 8, the number of it, and then Kashi had mentioned that we have quite a balance. We have 4 males and 4 females. So what a perfect meeting that is. But these are important. Yeah, I was kind of get carried away from doing interviews. But main thing is keep doing your gatherings, get together. It's about transferring codes back and forth through your energetic fields. So when you're in close proximity, right now, with awakened ones, your aura should be out probably 3 to 4 feet from you, your energetic field. So when you come into contact with others now, codes are being transferred very quickly. The conveyance of many gifts as well, and activations and triggers for those gifts. So there's so much going on with these gatherings. So it's very important in so many respects.
Absolutely, absolutely. The gatherings are an amazing way to, you know, begin also more heightened parts of the ascension process. You know, the more you meet, the more you connect with other people's energies, you know, you subconsciously get better at doing it, and you'll find yourself, you know, even in public, going around, just going shopping, going to get dinner, going to get lunch, and feeling this intense, you know, will or want or something pushing you to go speak with somebody. You know, don't ever be scared of those times. Don't ever be scared of those things. You know, if you have a feeling to go say hello to somebody, then do it. You know, if you have a feeling that you should pay for the person's coffee, you know, in front of you in line, then, or behind you in line, then do that. You know, go with the flow always. Go with the feeling behind, you know. But we do have an interesting gathering here because, you know, I would say that out of the 8, maybe 3 here are a little bit more relatively new to the process, and then, you know, it goes up from there, obviously leading into the beautiful masterpiece that is Rick here. So
thank you, brother. I give you a hug for that. Yeah. You are, though, as well. I wish to say with that, you know, this guy, I know he's got Archangel Mike energy, and that's only one that he can connect with. So it's very great to see that and feel it as well. So.
But yeah, no, thank you, Rick. You know, I think everybody eventually figures out which energy or which, you know, path they lie on. They begin to understand themselves, begin to understand their surroundings a bit differently than they have before, you know, and, you know, don't get put off by the fact that you may not know, you know, what's guiding you or, you know, what your purpose is here. Just every single day, fight for that individuality within yourself, and, you know, God will take care of the rest, and just have faith in that. And don't for a second resort to any fear-based aspects or negativity throughout your day, because it doesn't serve your higher purpose. It doesn't serve this overall ascension path, and it doesn't serve anyone. The only person or thing it's serving is your, you know, fear-based aspect at that point in time. So have that third person in your head that is going to revert you back to the path of light, to the path of positivity, you know. Just bring upon the good in your day, even if it doesn't seem like it's going your way. But Rick, just because we do have some new people here, and, you know, I do know that all the time there is new traffic coming in, you know, our website's growing so, or, you know, the group is growing so vastly every day. I was wondering to just briefly, you know, I know this is hard for you, but just summarize into, you know, more of a synopsis, you know, what the awakening is, and, you know, how you would describe it in a quick few words or sentences.
Okay, I'll try my best without rambling. So everything is happening for a reason at this time, and that statement holds true for us. And you know, as you began to awaken, knowing that there's something else, and knowing that you were guided, and you began to wake up to know that, you know, that this world is just not as it seems, that there was a magic or something else, you know, at play. And you would, let's say you knew enough from your heart to follow that. So, you know, we have many at this time that are awakening, but also at this time, over the years, many of you, you know, you didn't know what it was for, but you wanted to learn about an empath. You wanted to learn about healing. You wanted to learn about phenomenon. Well, you did all of that for a reason. And again, there is a reason for everything, and for you that are watching and you that are gathered here. And so having said that, the reason that it's for is that, you know, you are evolving within. You have so many gifts, but also you have the opportunity to awaken many more gifts within you, and you know, by doing the right things. And I call it divinity because it is, and it is with God. And many of you have known that. You have seen your own signs. You have been visited, you know, by your own angels of light, and you do know what you are in your heart, you know, is morally and ethically adjusted to be what you are, you know, a good person. And, you know, in the past, everyone has made what they said, maybe mistakes, or acted or reacted, you know, kind of like in a fear response. But, you know, that's all part of your learning, and that is in the past. You must look at where you're at today and where you're going forward. So getting back to this now, everything that you were interested in was for a reason, and now you're beginning to join together with others, and to learn more about what that reason is for, and to know that there's a divine reason behind it. And this goes into what had occurred on the planet, on the surface, on Gaia, here for the last, I'd like to just say the in total era, so we can go back in the complete history of humanity. And at that point, I will say what you are taught in schools about the history of humanity is not correct. It's a fabricated history. A lot of things are correct, and what you do is you use your resignation to what you wish to believe in any aspect of history. But nevertheless, at this time, to keep going forward, I suggest, keep interested in what interests you, which is the magic and the divinity and your gifts. And I will say also, it's because you are here upon the surface, if this resonates with you, to assist humanity. And this is why you are also given these gifts, and you are given knowledge of how to use these gifts and what they are. Now, incrementally, we have taken it on the surface to these higher levels since 2000 and let's say 12, 2013. We started to the surface and integrating into the timelines that there were other reasons behind why your gifts were being elevated and enhanced, and also why many of you were, let's say, awakening, seeing that this world is not what it seems, and accompanying that to get your attention, many profound experiences occurred for many of you. And there were times where many of you questioned your insanity because it was something totally different to what you were conditioned to and what you were taught to believe. And society was constructed by, with many mechanisms imprinted within society to perhaps label you as crazy, so that, you could be suppressed and separated, because actually there is the overall fear by the dark, which was a very real resistance to keep you suppressed. But again, 2011, 2012 was when everything changed. The light, if you look at a dark and light war in heaven, if you wish to use that analogy, that's when the war was won by the light, and everything changed here on the surface. I'll stop rambling.
No, it was a good ramble. It was a good ramble.
Okay.
But just touching on more of what you said there, I think that the hardest part of, I guess the overall ascension process from the individual's perspective is that exactly you're being shown these gifts, you're being shown these abilities, you're experiencing some divinity throughout your daily life. It's how do you merge that with obviously this 3D reality that has been, created to suppress the mind, which, we could go on and on and on about the orchestrations of the dark here in this, realm. But I guess what's the hardest part is detaching yourself from that and figuring out how, everybody these days is so connected with their friends on Facebook and on Instagram and, all forms of social media outlets. And, it's just that natural want to appease your fans or your friends on those outlets. And, you almost go with the flow, and that's what you have to understand. The dark have orchestrated your surroundings so that you do that, so that you gather, so that you lose your individuality, and so that you, go with the flow in the wrong way. So, my question to Rick is what advice do you have for those people, Rick, that are now awakening, realizing they have abilities, but are still stuck in the 9-to-5 grind and, are still eating, the poisoned food at the supermarkets for the discount deals, that are still, the dark, that are still believing that, university and education is the only way that they can prosper in life? Like, what do you have as advice for those people that are probably also going against the recommendation of their family members to separate from the society that's been created for us? Is there anything that you can speak to or say to those people to help them transition away from this world that's been created for us?
Yeah, indeed. I can always say so much, but with this important question, I like to keep it pretty simple. For any of you watching this and waking up, follow what feels right with you. And if something is, morally or ethically incorrect in society, but follow what feels right with you. A large part of this awakening as well is you'll find your diets and things need to be changed, but you also find like you are guided once you open up to that. For instance, if you feel you need to do something with your physical vessel, well, you may open up Facebook or what have you, and you'll find something right there, like some holistic or natural cure. Follow these. These are your signs and your prompts. So just keep everything as easy for you, and know that the thing over the darkness, that we had won that. You're in the period now of refining yourself and getting whatever you need to empower yourself. Now others will judge you, and you know your family members as well may judge you, but it's so important to know that you know they are judging you out of their fear. They do not understand you or where you are at when they do that. So you know, to keep yourself secure enough to, you know, just keep powering up. Just recognize those as distractions, or don't even recognize it, and keep going forward, building yourself up now. And again, this is what these gatherings are about, for each one to strengthen themselves individually and attach, you know, to your like-minded friends, to assist each other and just keep supporting each other in these good ways. So again, to keep it simple, know that you are here for a reason, that you are divine, and the gifts you now have are going to become stronger. You are going to be doing greater good feats with them. You will receive your own confirmations. So you know, a lot of you are out of school in regards with this, and you know what you must do, so you turn around and you assist others at this time. And so, you know, as a whole, as more begins to wake up, they will be coming, you know, to gatherings or having gatherings, and it's to, you know, more or less, let's say, everyone to get briefed and up to date on what is currently happening with the energetics, and you know, also globally, because you are connected to what is happening globally. We are the ones that are here to facilitate the good change upon the planet. So you know, in religions and things, you know, always expected perhaps a savior of some sort to come. Well, collectively, we are the savior. And, you know, this is no anyone thinking this is a cult or whatever. Just stop for a minute and just look what this is all about. If it's a cult, why would it be coming from the heart and to do all things good and to share and love? And so if anyone calls that a cult, you know, well, that is, you know, kind of absurd. So the main reason I brought this up is that you know better that it's about all good, and anyone saying it's a cult or whatever, again, they do not understand it, but also, you know, it's out of their fear that, and their fear of the unknown, that they try to diminish it, or also out of their ego, they try to use something else for it. But again, I'm getting off track.
Oh, you're perfectly on track. The flow is the track, right?
So
no, that's great, Rick. Thank you for the pieces of information there. You know, I guess one thing that for me was a big fear-based aspect, you know, once I started releasing fear from my life, was the fear of not being up to date. And you were just touching on this, you know, and the thing is, there's so many videos, there's so many people posting things about this, there's so many, you know, energy updates, and you name it. You could sit in front of your computer all day long and you would not be able to catch up, and that's completely okay, you know. you need to understand is that you do have the answers within. You do not need to watch anybody or hear about anybody's experiences, because they're their own experiences, and your experiences are not going to be the same. The moment that you try and make them the same, you're actually limiting the experiences that are going to be, you know, in your life. So you can't have the fear that there's stuff happening and there's stuff that you don't know about. Just remember that your purpose in this ascension, first and foremost, before you can help anybody out, is to open up your mind, is to change your mind about what life is, about what reality is, so that then you can start pursuing your individual self. You need to start fighting for your core values, your, you know, your virtuities, I guess. Let's make up a word here.
I'm with that.
But, you know, you need to start fighting for those things, and through the fight for your personal self, you know, let's say, do you believe in honesty? Do you believe in integrity? Do you believe that being on time is important? Do you think you should always wear white socks on Mondays? Whatever it is, fight for it night and day. Never give up. Never let anybody else's opinion change your mind. Never let that happen. And even if you miss some stuff on Facebook, even if you miss some energy updates or some things that Rick has, you know, been saying, it's okay, as long as you're fighting for yourself instead of watching these videos. And there is going to be a point where you separate, and then you don't need any sort of guidance whatsoever, because the answers are flown divinely into your mind. So then the videos just become an aid, and you'll find yourself synchronizing with the videos on, you know, what the collective is posting about, and you'll be able to, you know, take your experiences there and affirm them, as opposed to start your experience from something like an outlet of like Facebook or Instagram. So, you know, have no fear. There's no wrong path. There's no wrong way of doing it. You know, nature takes its time, but everything gets accomplished. But your main job has to be fight for myself, fight for my individual, you know, values. And your second, you know, most important job is have no fear. And like Rick was saying, that's any negativity, that's any sort of jealousy, that's, you know, anything that doesn't serve your higher purpose. So always be that positive, you know, character of light, and always fight for those virtues, because they're what's going to give you access to that divine knowledge and that divine information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed. So again, everything is happening for a reason. So let's say we have to say that there are different levels with this for each one, because each one individually are at different levels with their own empowerment, and, you know, getting back their memory from all of their existences, getting their gifts. So there are many levels. But with this, again, the ones of you that, you know, you're up here, yes you are, because you have a good grasp of what's going on, but you're up here to assist and bring the others up with us, and this is what it's about. It's a unity thing with that. But at this most auspicious time, we are now at the point where this needs to be done. Many of you are prepared as teachers, and you are ready to do it, to facilitate, you know, any gatherings. You don't go out on the street and haul someone into a gathering, you know, by the arm. What happens? Divinely, the right ones do show up, and the right ones are there. And as I mentioned earlier, it does not matter if you're by yourself or if you have 50. What I can guarantee you is that these types of gatherings are going to grow very rapidly and very quickly, and it's going to grow with the ones that you know, that they know they have a purpose there. So no one's twisting anyone's arm with this. It's all an individual basis of what you feel and what your connections are. So having said that, enough have divinely been through their own inner knowing and awakening, and through their own being taught. They know enough now we are at the point that there are enough of us to begin to bring in the new changes upon the planet. And the way we do this is we work at the energetic levels, that which is, excuse me, it's actually above everything that's happening outside. So at this time, what we wish to do is to get everyone up as high as we can get you. And as Conrad mentioned, once you get up to such a level, you have opened the consciousness enough and have empowered yourself enough that you get your own info, you know what to do with it. So, and these are, again, this is the level where we're at, and it's all about energy. We are energy, God is energy, and it's important, again, to get together and mix your energetic fields. Although, you know, we connect all across space and time, it is so important to these physical vessels you have to integrate your gifts into the energy that you have associated with these vessels. This is what it's all about, to power you up even more. And, you know, just to give an example, and perhaps Conrad alluded to earlier, once you are powered up, you are a beacon of light. And, you know, once you're in your enough in your truth and your purity, and also your joy that goes with this, which is so important, because as you keep going up to higher states, you come to the place of joy and bliss, because you know then that everything happens for a reason, and you know more of why you are here. And you also by that point you have witnessed enough of let's say divine magic and things that you once thought were impossible. So then you can walk out, for instance, into a crowded street where everyone's rushing, pushing, bumping into each other. You can walk out there in that whole street and just say, no, you know, everyone slow down. And what you can create is, yeah, everyone slowing down, no one bumping into anyone, because you are a creator as well. And you are given that specific, most important divine gift. To be a creator, a creator uncreates bad things, and a creator creates good things. And this is how you facilitate change, which we will be getting into more later. And Father and Divinity, Father, Mother God, and Divinity loves throwing the cart before the horse. But right now we have to catch up to that cart that was just recently thrown before the horse. So we're now reining and attaching the horse right now at this point. This is the level where we're at. So again, the gatherings, mixing with each other, getting to know each other a little bit about each other in the unity. And it's in unities where you also create a higher energetics, that if you're gathering in a small hall, you are affecting the atmosphere, the energy all out around the areas where you are in as well while you are gathered. But that becomes, as we keep going forward, there's divine, always a higher divine governance on the energetics upon the surface. So nothing ever gets out of hand. Everything is always perfect, and everything is adjusted divinely accordingly when it needs to be. So all you have to do to keep it simple is just follow what you get, and keep, though, empowering yourself up with no restrictions. And believe me, it's so important that you need to believe in what you are and have no doubt, because when you do that, your gifts come flooding in very quickly. You're raised up into the magic, and your confirmations abound that it is very true.
Oh, yeah. But it gets a lot harder before it gets easier, right?
No. Right now, it did before, but no, for for, you know, the audience, and even, no, even, you know, we have new ones being introduced, you know, a little bit more to what's going on tonight. No, no. We have all the tools and the teachers now for anyone, let's say, you know, having a little bit of a problem that might be just awakening. There's the information is all out there for them to rapidly expedite their growth as well, to the ones that are open to it. But it's also divinely orchestrated that the ones that are ready and open to it, they come anyway. They are attracted, and it's all because of their soul that attracts them to where they need to be at the right time, because they are part of the overall divine plan. So everything is perfect in that sense. And having said that, no, one's just awakening can make great leaps in that. At least most that I've seen, Conrad, and you know what I'm given in my knowledge of what is transpiring at this time. No.
Of course, of course. And, you know, great point there that now, you know, for the people that are a little bit newer to this, there is those teachers, there is those outlets, there is real angels, you know. So there is things that you can do, or places you can go to receive that help and that guidance, you know. But for those, you know, again, touching on what you were saying earlier, Rick, is that, you know, every single person's experience is unique to that person, you know. And I may have been speaking a little bit more for the more divinely orchestrated ones there, but at least from my experience, right, when I decided that I was going to eliminate fear from my life, and I, you know, slaved over that, and I created this third person self that almost guided me through those times of fear. You know, once I made that decision, then it was almost as if Father said, okay, well, you made that decision, but now let's see if you really did make that decision. So there was situations and there was things in my life that were orchestrated for me to, you know, be tested, to prove to, you know, Father that I, in fact, was fearless. And believe me, for me, because of who I am, those were completely unbelievable situations, you know, situations that would have put me into a mental hospital before my, you know, awakening process. But now, you know, every single thing is divinely orchestrated. So you can't have fear, even if somebody, you know, for instance, for myself, somebody went ahead a few weeks ago and, you know, slashed 4 tires on my truck. And, you know, at that point in time, I was, you know, grabbing my head thinking, why, you know, why, Father, why would you do this to me? And then a few weeks later, it revealed to me that that was actually a blessing in disguise, because another situation that I'm dealing with on the side of that ended up working out that somebody who is of the evil, somebody who is of the darkness, you know, I didn't really have any backing to the fact with the police that they were of the darkness. So now, because these 4 tires got slashed over here just from what the police have decided, now I have backing and protection from even forces of this 3D place that, you know, some people would be scared of or fearful of. But now this was just, you know, divinely orchestrated by Father from one ill intent to another ill intent to help my divine purpose, right? So I'm not going to go into more details about that, but there is that orchestrated web. There is that, you know, dark and light fighting together in unison to bring all of us up, right? So if something bad does happen to you, just be patient, sit on it, wait. There is something else coming your way, and if there isn't, it's a test. So pay attention and definitely try and learn and grow from it, because there will be more. But once you get there, then, you know, the tests eventually do stop to a point until you decide to go back onto those lower timelines. So stay high and stay up there. Again, take what I'm saying, you know, take pieces of it, take all of it, whatever you want, but be Socrates, right? Have the ability to sit down, listen to something that somebody's telling you fully, and then allow yourself to disagree or agree with whatever piece of whatever they have said, and then create an opinion for yourself. You know, don't ever close your eyes or close your ears or close your minds to something that somebody's saying because it doesn't resonate with you. At least listen to it fully, then make your decisions after, you know, because sometimes, you know, you need to be uncomfortable to grow, to learn a new truth. You need to have that truth overridden, and it's not an easy process, so don't be stuck in your ways.
Indeed, yeah, and totally, and go with that flow on it. And it's so perfect. I was just sitting there listening to it, but also, you know, thinking about some other angels that have joined around the table here as well. And it's very interesting too. We come up with one's clairescience. Another here is a very powerful medium of sorts, which is very appreciative. And we have one had entered a twin flame union, and some other things. So with these, you know, with these gatherings as well, you get, let's say, a representation of a lot of the divine things that are happening, like, you know, with the prowess of what you're coming into, the empath as well, and many different aspects. And also we have another angel that goes out and knows about her angelic gifts and applies those out into the reality. And you know, she her and I talk often, and she has many amazing stories, and she knows it's true. So she's out in the field, you know, being an angel. That's the level that she is at, and she does it daily. And I would say she does it, yeah, every second of the day pretty well. But sometimes, you know, we don't have anything divine to do, that we just sit and we get bored, and at those times we amuse ourselves in some way. So,
well, amusing yourself there, you know, just to touch on that quickly, because we both like to ramble, so I'll also stop rambling. But it's like, that's another one of the big struggles that I'm finding with people, especially on Real Angels, you know, is that people get into the place of boredom because, you know, they're trying to disassociate from this world that's been created for them. And they start getting bored, and they start getting lonely, and they start then, you know, reaching sometimes for alcohol, sometimes reaching for, you know, self-inflicting pain, sometimes reaching for the TV, sometimes reaching for, you know, those other friendships and relationships they have to, you know, get them through that boredom. But that boredom is an excellent time to connect with yourself. So anytime you feel lonely or bored, excellent. Close your eyes, do some breathing exercises, try and figure out what's going up in here, because that's what matters, you know. You can't ever be bored and consider that that's a bad thing. Use that time to connect with yourself, because it's divinely orchestrated at that time so that you start connecting with yourself. You know, be confident in your own skin. You don't need anybody to go to the movies with. Go to the movies by yourself. You know, start tapping into that flow, start tapping into that energy stream that's out there with every single individual. Start helping, you know, and start manifesting if you're really that bored. Start, you know, casting your spells, if you will, but start, you know, praying for the greater good. Start praying for anything you would wish, or like Rick was using earlier in that example of that busy street of everybody pushing themselves and bumping into each other. You know, let's say you're on that street and you need to get to the end of it. So you wouldn't manifest, for instance, okay, you know, Father, please clear me a path and allow me to get to where I'm going. That's never going to work. That's going to implode onto you. What you need to do at that point in time and say, Lord, everybody's frustrated. Everybody is, you know, obviously a little bit tense. Please calm them down. Allow them to start moving faster so that everybody may get to where they need to go a little bit quicker. And you will find that, you know, everything just changes, and you start finding yourself exactly where you needed to be, and you start connecting with those energies of the people that you're manifesting for at that same time. But never make it about self, because the moment you make it about self, it just doesn't work. But, you know, we were talking earlier as well in the group outside here about these things.
Yeah, beautiful.
And I was thinking that maybe your next conversation could go to, you know, what crystals are or what they do for people. Some people, you know, obviously, eventually, once you get to a place, you don't need any form of crystals. You have everything that you need inside. But for those people that are a little bit more, you know, new to this kind of idea, you know, crystals can help you a lot. They can help raise your frequency. They can lower your frequency too if they're used in the wrong way. But Rick, you know, what do you think is the significance of, let's say, something like white quartz in this, you know, ascension process and in this time?
Okay, if I may, before we get into that, if we can just stop and take a break, because some crystal information's been popping up. I'd like to go around the table. So can we also take a break? And I wish to go to the washroom and, hey, maybe have a smoke. But any of you watch, you can, you know, you can look at these videos anytime. So if we're stopped for 15 minutes or whatever, you can catch it tomorrow. But before we go into about the crystals, I'm feeling it's important that we just discuss around the table without this on the video right now. If
Absolutely.
that feels good with you.
That feels amazing with me.
Yeah, we got to get some air stuffy here.
Yeah, all this energy is getting the heat up in here for sure.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
you're going to watch us fimble around with my phone for a bit too. So we'll see if we can shut this thing off. If not, then look for a second video, at least for my profile, because definitely a green thumb when it comes to the Facebook over here.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to shut this down. I'll probably just start up on a new one when we start back up after a bit, so everyone feels to have a break. So we'll see you later, and we love you, and we'll be right back. Okay, come on, guys. You got to leave us go. They do this to me. Look. Okay, there it is. Beautiful. Thank you. We'll see you in a bit.
There you go.
I guess that's like the
Comments up here.
I don't know what you want to do.
So everybody that's watching right now, we're a little bit green on this setup, but
I'm trying
I think
to
we are
end.
live. Well, you confirm and go on the Facebook page.